If this book exists, you're in the wrong universe. Monday, August 22nd, 4:34 a.m. Vanilla gumballs. Collected, 6. Amy. Amy had told Gracie that she sometimes dreamed about running from monsters, only to find her missing hand was impeding her escape. That was extremely rare, though. Oddly enough, monsters hardly ever turned up in her nightmares at all. Amy's most common dream was one where she finds out her family is still alive. Like she runs into them at the grocery store and learns that it had all been a mix-up at the hospital somehow. She had lots of dreams where her hand had inexplicably grown back. As for nightmares, the most common was where she finds herself somehow back in high school and has to take a test in a math class she'd never attended and/or has forgotten her locker combination. Occasionally, she'll have the one where she has to pee but is in some situation where she can't find a bathroom, walking around and around some huge facility only to find that every women's room is out of order or locked or something. The really traumatizing nightmares, the ones that leave her drenched in night sweats, aren't about any kind of danger to herself. Instead, she'll dream that John has overdosed on drugs, or that David is trying to drive after having had too much to drink and she can't talk him out of it. Sometimes she'll dream that she has a helpless pet that she has never owned in real life, a hamster or a bunny rabbit, that she accidentally allowed to starve or drown. But tonight, for the first time, Amy dreamed about her children. These were children she didn't have, children she'd never planned to have, but there they were, just the same. A little boy with Amy's freckles and copper hair, who was skinny but with a round face, like he had been chubby but had suddenly lost all the weight, and a beautiful little girl with chestnut hair who, when cleaned up, would look like she could be a model someday. Both of them were filthy, starving, and racked with terror. It was dark. There was no sky above them. It was damp and cold. Moans echoed off unseen geography, a tortured noise like the whole world had a metal roof that was straining under too much weight. They were running, but the kids were struggling to keep up. Their little legs couldn't go as fast as Amy needed them to go, and they were begging her to stop, to rest. Amy was shouting for someone, but her shouts were weird. They came out as whispers, because in the dream she was trying to yell, but without being heard by whoever or whatever was chasing them. She didn't have her glasses. She wasn't wearing shoes, and the ground was slick and gritty and sticky beneath her bare feet. Her clothes were so dirty that they were stiff. Her son wasn't wearing a shirt. He had a layer of black grit on his face, and his tears were washing clean streaks down to his chin. Her daughter was gone. Amy stumbled to a stop. She shouted/whispered the girl's name, a name that weirdly didn't register in the dream, like it was being censored by her own mind, coming out as garbled static. She shouted it again, now as loud as her lungs could manage, no longer caring who or what heard. There was no response. Amy froze. Going back for her would risk her son's life. Even if she left him here while she doubled back alone, there was no good choice. So, in that manner that people do in dreams, she just stood there, stupidly, while the things that were chasing them through the darkness drew closer and closer. Then she saw that what was chasing them was the darkness. People made of shadow with glowing eyes. And the whole time, the thought that pounded through Amy's head was that this was her fault. All her fault. Something grabbed Amy's shoulder, and she startled herself awake. She had no idea where she was. It was Joy, gently shaking her. They were both in Joy's bedroom. "You're moaning in your sleep again," whispered Joy, "grinding your teeth." Amy rolled over. Nightmare. Was it the one about the math class? Don't remember. Me. When I dream, I often dream about myself, only I'm outside myself, talking or arguing with my doppelganger. A court-appointed counselor once implied that it's because I'm a narcissist. I had replied that that can't be true, because in my dreams, this alternate version of me is often calling me a loser. The therapist had said that being a narcissist doesn't necessarily mean you think you're great. You can just as easily obsess over your flaws, that it's narcissists who lie in bed and beat themselves up over something embarrassing they said back in middle school. Ultimately, he said, some people just struggle to understand that the whole universe does not revolve around their problems. I told him that another sign of a true narcissist is you feel qualified to lecture other people about how to live their lives and then demand payment for it. They switched me to another therapist after that. The point is, when I opened my eyes and found a man standing near John's sofa in the dark, I had no problem recognizing it as a dream David. I muttered, "Hey." This one was fit, easily 40 pounds lighter than me, well-dressed, not in a suit, but in casual clothes that were just better, clean, effortlessly matched, quality brands. He had a silver watch, neatly trimmed beard, so not just Dream David, but Fancy David. But it was me. I'd know me anywhere. His eyes darted around the room. "What is this place you're living?" "I don't live here. It's John's house." "He's alive." "Last time I checked." "That explains it. What do you do for money?" "We charge people to fix their weird problems, and charge other people to watch." "Where are the kids?" "What kids?" "You don't have kids." "No. How would that even work?" I closed my eyes, which was a weird thing to be able to do in a dream, but whatever. "Hey," he said, "what day is this? And how many days until the egg hatches?" I don't know. Hopefully never. We squished the little eyeball monster." "Have you talked to Marconi yet?" "No. Why would I? What a waste. You don't remember our last conversation at all, do you?" "Leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep." He actually did for a moment, but then he said, "How much do you weigh?" "What are you, my doctor?" "Do you exercise?" "All the time. I'm doing it right now. You can't see it, but I clench my muscles in my sleep." "Don't you care?" he asked in a tone like he was too sad to be as pissed off as he wanted to be. "About anything?" "I feel like getting enough sleep is really important. There's something different about you. You're not me. I can't put my finger on it, but something's off. Something happened with you and I can't see it. I'm doing my best." "Who's that woman upstairs? One of John's girlfriends?" "Camouflaged hive of interdimensional insects. Name is Joy." "You're not making sense. You know what? Forget it. You're a lost cause." Probably. There's no point to me saying it because I know you'll fail even without looking, but I'm going to say it anyway. You have to kill Sebastian Galveston. If that means you have to kill the rest of the family, do it. It's the only way. Don't get distracted by anything else. Don't go trying to puzzle out the deep, dark conspiracy behind all this. It's just Bass. He's the only one who matters. You kill Bass, you save everybody. You have to keep it from Amy. Do it. Easier to apologize later, but you have to at least try. He scoffed, and I could hear him shaking his head. What a waste. It took a moment for my sleeping brain to register what he'd said, but when it did, my eyes snapped open. The other me wasn't there, but of course he wasn't, because this time I had opened my eyes for real. I closed them again, trying to process what Fancy David had said, but instead immediately fell back asleep. John was walking around in his childhood home, apoplectic because tomorrow was picture day at his elementary school, even though he was an adult and he had no pants to wear and all his teeth had fallen out. He was hurrying around the house looking for his guitar so he could use it to glue his teeth back in. Then he found his guitar and put it in the toaster, because his guitar was waffles. The toaster was a human butt. How was he going to play a waffle guitar when he performed at the Super Bowl halftime show tomorrow at elementary school picture day? John walked out of his childhood kitchen and into the kitchen of the apartment he lived in for a few years after high school. There, he saw a ghostly figure emerge from the wall, a muscular man in a dark suit. "I have granted your friend's request," said the man. He stepped out of the wall and into the center of the room, becoming solid as he did so. "You have returned," said John. "What is your name, spirit?" "They call me the Time Captain. I cannot stay long." "Why do they call you that?" "Is it not clear? Time obeys my command." "I do not understand. Is this a vision, Time Captain, or is it a dream?" "What do you think it is?" What request is it you have granted? You said you were giving us a second chance. What mistake are we trying to rectify? What do you think it was? Why can you not speak plainly, Spirit? Can you not grasp what I have spelled out for you? John, you have done all of this before. It went terribly wrong, and at the moment of calamity, I was asked to rewind, to give you this second chance. How is such a thing possible? The time captain made a motion with his right hand, sweeping past his groin. His suit disappeared, drifting off his body like smoke. He was suddenly nude, his tan organ erect. It is possible because I am the time captain, and the time is 12 o'clock. Follow me to the pool. Suddenly, they were at the public swimming pool in town next to the park, the very place where John had seen his first naked boob. They were not alone. Nearest to John was a short-haired young woman whom John recognized as Joyce Heiser, as she had appeared in the 1985 film Just One of the Guys. Next to her was another woman, who John immediately knew was Red Alert 2 era Carrie Werher, accompanied by early 90s Shannon Tweed. John heard a noise behind him and turned. Out of the shadows of the pool's brick restroom hut stepped Jessica Rabbit. To control time, said the time captain, I must harness sexual energy. Together, we must fuck a hole in the time-space continuum. John nodded and said, I suspected as much. The time captain stepped forward, smiled, and said, Mount up.